Okay, so hopefully we're live now, and if so, hi. I'm going to be playing Ironsworn, which is a cool game. I have not played this game before, but I've watched it been played, and I've read the rulebook, mostly, so hopefully it's not going to be a complete disaster, and hopefully we'll get some stuff done today, and we'll see how far things go, and then I might come back to this if I have a good time, but I might not. We'll see how it goes. So I'm not going to go over like all the rules or anything. I'm just kind of going to jump in. But the very basic stuff is this is a tabletop RPG of perilous quests, as it says, and it's designed for solo play, which is why I want to try it, because I have plenty of time to myself right now. But I figured I'd also stream it and maybe record it as well for later viewers, and just kind of put it up as a little thing for people to watch if they want. So, Ironsworn is like kind of low, gritty fantasy game. It's got a bit of a Viking aesthetic. We can mix that up in, you know, my version if we want, but and actually the first thing we'll be doing is kind of building the world and answering some questions about what things are like, so we can get a better like grip on things. I'm not sure what the stream delay is like, but I might occasionally ask anyone who's watching if they want to answer a question about the world for me or decide between some options. I don't mind waiting for a little bit to see responses. I know Alex, you're at least in the chat, so I've got one person to bounce ideas off if nothing else. To answer your first question though, I believe there's only one polearm mentioned by name in the rules, so pretty low on the polearm count, but with this cool sword, so maybe that'll come up. Right, so let's go and jump straight to the world. Oh, your world in particular. This is our world. Awesome. Let me see if I can make this actually full screen as well. Cool. So by the way, this PDF is free, which is why I don't feel bad just streaming it to the world like this, but go get it if this game looks good. It seems good to me so far. So blah blah blah, welcome to the Islands. It's a vast peninsula in the Northern Ocean. We came here 2 generations ago, so our grandparents came here after the homelands were ravaged by a catastrophe, and it kind of sucks here, but I guess it's better than whatever we left behind in the non-Iron lands. And again, we'll answer these questions as we go, and depending on our choices, there might be monstrous beasts or dreaded horrors around. We can also decide how prevalent magic is and things like that. And then there's a map, which I'll be switching to on Roll20 when we want to be on Roll20. And I've got an image of this, which has been coloured. It's off Reddit. So it's kind of this area with these 9 zones, and the rulebook has like a basic description of what these zones are. So depending on where we want to set the game, we can look up some ideas for what might be there. But that's detail at the moment. What we're going to do is start with answering this Your Truths section. So, yeah, I know polearms are a vital ingredient in literally any game that you want to play, so I don't know what this game is really doing, but, yes, I will hopefully do Great War of Magellan. If I can adapt the solo play rules from this to let me play Great War of Magellan on my own, I will actually do that as well, so many options for what we're going to do. Right. So I'm going to be switching between the rulebook and this Roll20 thing I've made, and I've got a little thing called the world. So we can start out by, oh actually, can I just like edit this? Does this work, or do I need to actually like edit the text box for this? Why is Roll20 so inscrutable? I guess I actually edit in this box. So our truths about the world. If I save changes now, yeah, cool, okay. So it's a little awkward that I'm just going to be alt-tabbing back and forth, but I didn't want to try and split the screen up. Let's move this over here. So truth number 1. So there's going to be 3 options on like each of these, but we can always make up our own one. So truth number 1 is the old world. Savage clans called the Scold invaded the kingdoms of the old world. Our armies fell, we died, we became slaves, and the people who made it to the Ironlands escaped from this. So each of these also comes with like a quest starter thing, which is an idea for where our game might begin. We obviously don't have to include all of them, or else we'd have about 10. But just an idea that you could say you're a descendant of a scold, but somehow, come with the escapees. But now more scold have arrived. Oh no. There's another option, which is a sickness that fell across the old world. It's very topical, classic, and I don't think I want to pick this one, mostly because it's kind of topical and I don't want to think about that right now, so I don't think we're picking this one. And then finally, the old world could no longer sustain us. We ate all the food and chopped down all the trees, and people were hungry and desperate and battled each other, so we went out to try and find a new world, and it turns out this one sucks as well, I guess, but perhaps it's better than there. Not really sure about this choice, so obviously I don't want to pick this one in the middle. Might pick don't want invaders or war or something else. So I did have a bit of a think about this earlier, and I think I have a different idea. So I kind of like the idea of the old world being destroyed by like natural disasters in such rapid succession that it seems like perhaps it was, the gods or magic or something mysterious causing them, like almost like a localized kind of apocalypse in a very classical sense, with earthquakes and hurricanes and volcanoes and stuff just tearing the land to shreds and making it uninhabitable. Kind of feel like that's like a cool way to leave behind the old world rather than any of these. I don't know, these are nice, I guess, but I want something kind of a bit more grand and epic as a reason to leave behind the old land. So I'm gonna write that down. So the old world was destroyed by a series of natural, without in quotation marks, disasters, earthquakes, floods and hurricanes ravaged the lands and destroyed our cities. Some say the gods sought retribution for a sin of humanity. I like that. Others say that they simply abandoned us. So, just making some extra stuff up there to go with. I like this idea of people not knowing why this was happening, and the actual reason for this, we don't need to answer. It's just, I think that would be a good cultural thing to have, is like people treating these weathers and natural disasters and things as like something from the gods or some interaction with the gods, who may or may not be real. So, cool. Let's work along. So communities, next. What do we want from this? So we are few in this accursed land, most rarely have contact with anyone outside our own small steading or village, and strangely view disposition. We live in communities called circles. There are settlements ranging from a few families to a village of several hundred. Some circles belong to nomadic folk. Some powerful circles might include a cluster of settlements we trade and sometimes feud with other circles. Or we have forged the Ironlands into a home. We have villages with well-trod roads and trade caravans, and even between regions outside the havens, which is where most of the civilization is. Even so, much of this land is untamed. So even in that third option, we obviously still have wild areas with beasts and nasty things to go and fight. Again, this is just a kind of tone-setting thing. To me, the middle one feels most appealing, just because I like this idea of small factional communities that have perhaps relationships with their closest nearby communities that might form them into circles, but like larger circles between them. But it's not like a super busy trade empire, and it's also not just a bunch of people in a camp and then 100 miles away another camp. It just feels like it leaves room for like interesting kind of factions. So yeah, I'm going to pick that one. Not going to write out the whole thing, but I'm fine with the name circles as well. I will check the wording on this. Size from setting with a few families. Trade and feud between circles, and sometimes alliances are formed, expanding the size of a circle to include a few separate settlements. Cool, okay, nice and simple. Leaders, so who's in charge of our place? Leadership is as varied as a people. Some communities are governed by the heads of a powerful family, or they have a council of elders who make decisions and settle disputes. In others, the priests hold sway. For some, it is duels in the circle that decide. That's one option. Each community has its own leader called an overseer. Every 7th spring, the people affirm their current overseer or choose a new one. Some overseers wear the iron circlet reluctantly, while others thirst for power and gain it through schemes or threats. And then finally, numerous clan chiefs rule over petty domains. Most are intent on becoming the one true king. Their squabbles will be our undoing. Again, just kind of my favourite, I think, is the first one. I like just having freedom to define interesting leadership structures as we travel around this land. I don't want to be sort of prescriptive at the start of our game about who's going to be in charge of every place we go to. So I'm just going to pick that one. I feel like I can probably just kind of add this onto the end of it. Leaders of the circle, leadership structures is determined by that particular circle, that circle's culture and customs, and no particular structure of governance has yet prevailed wider than a local area. So no one can really figure out how to rule themselves. I don't know who ruled us in the old world. Perhaps a monarch or something, but whatever the case, when we came here, people took it upon themselves to set up new ways of governing themselves, and I guess it would have been determined by who was in the groups that founded the different circles. So that makes sense to me. Defense. So how do we fight back against things? Here in the Ironlands, supplies are too precious and the lands are too sparsely populated to support organised fighting forces. When a community is threatened, we will stand together to protect their own. The wardens are our soldiers, guards and militia. They serve their communities by standing sentry, patrolling surrounding lands, and organising defences in times of crisis. Most have strong ties to their community. Others, called free wardens, are wandering mercenaries who hire on to serve the community or protect caravans. Our warbands are rallied to strike at our enemies or defend our holdings. They're not nearly as impressive as the armies that once marched across the old world. These forces are as well trained and equipped as their communities can manage. The banners of the warbands are adorned with depictions of their old world history and Ironland victories. This is interesting because this kind of obviously intersects with the circles and the leadership thing that we've said so far. Do we want organised warbands? Wardens is kind of kind of gives us this organisation as well. And obviously, when we start making a character, we can maybe make someone who is a warden or who has ties to wardens if we want a sort of easy hook to make us someone that's important to defending places. Well, I do kind of like for warbands as a way of sort of pushing things out, like giving circles reasons to sometimes have travelled far or like have histories or relationships with ones outside their own sort of immediate area. I'm going to take the third one here. I like this idea of actually like each circle might have a small sort of militia, and then maybe sometimes when the circles consist of multiple villages or like towns or what have you, they actually do like band together into something almost like an army. Yeah, let's do that. It kind of implies that there's more like military conflict in the region as well, which is fine by me. Well organised forces that stand ready to defend our holdings or strike at our circle's enemies. To serve in a circle's warband is sometimes an honour, sometimes an obligation, and sometimes just well paid. So they're not, uniform. There's no like single tradition that unites for warbands because we have all these varied leadership structures. It would be, I think, somewhat weird to me if they still all agreed that like there was a particular duty to be in a militia or serve in the warband. But I like the idea that it's a bloody enough land that you need to protect yourself with something organised. Gives us lots of conflict and bloodshed, which is fun for adventures. Sometimes just well paid. Sounds good to me. Cool. Mysticism. So now we get to talk about magic. How much magic is going to be in this game, in our world? When we make a character, we can take rituals, which are how you do magic as a character in this game. I don't know if I want to take a ritual, depends what kind of character we make, but obviously this will define, if we do take a ritual, what it means to be someone who knows magic in this world. Are we are we special, or is this something that most people can do? How would people treat us, so... Right, so first option is the lowest magic. Some still find comfort in the old ways. They call on mystics to divine the fortune of their newborn, or ask them to perform rituals to invoke a bountiful harvest. Others act out of fear against those who they suspect of having power. However, most folk believe true magic, if it ever existed, is lost to us now. So this is, this is, like I said, the lowest magic version. It's interesting. Option 2, I guess, is magic is rare and dangerous, but those few who wield the power are truly gifted. Middle magic. And then finally, magic courses through this land as the rivers flow through the hills. The power is there for those who choose to harness it, and even the common folk often know a helpful ritual or two. I don't know which one I prefer here. I think I don't want it to be no magic or super low magic. I want the option for us to, if not be a wizard, to meet a wizard, or something similar. So, could make our own thing here. I take rare and dangerous. I like the middle one. That's fun enough for me. Those said, right? Those few who wield power are truly gifted. Religion. A few Ironlanders still make signs or mumble prayers out of habit or tradition, but most believe the gods long ago abandoned us. Cool. That might tie into that backstory we had about the old world, so we'll figure that out. The people honour old gods and new. In this harsh land, a prayer is a simple, powerful comfort. And our gods are many. They make themselves known through manifestations and miracles. Some say they even secretly walk among us. The priests convey the will of the gods and hold sway over many communities. I think I'd like to... I think the first one makes sense to me, just based on that thing we talked about, the old world. You know, there might be people out there who still believe in the old gods, or perhaps believe that they could be redeemed in the eyes of the old gods who came to destroy the world, and perhaps that the people who settled in the Ironlands are like devout enough that the gods spared us, and that's what let us flee. But most people, I think, the prevailing view is that we want nothing to do with the old gods. So, yeah, let's go with that. So, most believe the gods have turned away from us and no longer follow the faiths of the old world. A few devout followers still pray for redemption, but most see this as a futile path. Yeah. That's when they destroyed our old home. When our old home was lost. Cool. Next up is the Firstborn. So, a brief thing. Firstborn is this game's term for, like, fantasy people. So elves, giants. I think there's a group called the Varu, who are like wolf people, also, but those are the main ones, like elves and giants. It does mention them in this section, I think, and they live here, possibly. So, option 1, Firstborn have passed into legend. Some say the remnants of the old tribes still dwell in deep forests or high mountains. Most believe they were never anything more than myth. Next, the Firstborn live in isolation and are fiercely protective of their own lands. Or, the Firstborn hold sway in the Ironlands. The elves of the deep forests and the giants of the hills tolerate us and even trade with us for now. Ironlanders fear the day they decide we are no longer welcome here. Again, I want my room to have elves and giants and cool stuff like that come up in the game if it feels like it fits. And I don't want it to be like a huge world-shattering revelation that like giants are still around. So one of these two secondary options. And I think the sort of default assumptions about these are elves are foresty, elfy things, and giants are like slow, thoughtful, big people that live in the hills and mountains. The Varu are like territorial sort of groups. So I like the idea that we could have quite friendly relationships with them, potentially. And I think, I'm going to do a double back on that religion idea, because I like the idea that maybe some humans have started adapting the sort of religions of the Firstborn as an alternative to the ones that we left behind when our gods seemingly turned on us. So, yeah, that sounds good. Firstborn holds sway, yeah. I don't want it to be like we're ruled by the Firstborn, but So what's like a way to put this? Because I want to reword it a little bit. The Firstborn are prominent, or we share these lands, I think is probably the best way. Yeah, we share these lands openly with the Firstborn. Although they treated us with suspicion at first. We now trade and meet with them on the roads between circles outside the havens. Some circles now, some circles have brought Firstborn into their communities, and some humans have even left behind their circle for the elven. Do I have a name for elven groups? Let me skip and see if it has anything. Where are the elves? Foes and encounters. Yeah, so yeah. I mean, we're probably going to rewrite some of this, but okay. Clans. I'm going to call them clans. That sounds fun. Clans. Perhaps we can be friends with an elf or a giant or a Varu. Want to add something to this. I do want a little bit of extra sting. As we continue to expand, I think maybe there's a bit of tension. How should we put that? Our circles continue to grow. And some say the giants, some say the Firstborn, may come to fear or resent us for wars and expansion we have brought. So it's, yeah, we're not sure how much bigger they're going to let us grow, because they welcomed us at first, but we're clearly here to stay. It's been 2 generations. Perhaps it will change. We are here, your world. 2 more to go. Yeah, I mean, we'll do this, and we'll definitely do character creation today, and if we're at a point where I want to play a bit, we'll play a bit. I don't know how long I'm going to play for, so we'll just see how it goes, and then assuming I do want to keep playing, I'll come back to it later, so just wanted to say that now. Right, next up we have the beasts. So these are monsters and strange creatures. The beasts of old are nothing but legend. A few who travel deep into the deep forests and high mountains return with wild tales of monstrous creatures, but they are obviously delusional. No such things exist. Monstrous beasts stalk the wild areas of the Ironlands, and then beasts of all sorts roam the Ironlands. They dwell primarily in the reaches, but range into the settled lands to hunt. There, they often prey on cattle, but attacks on travellers, caravans, and even settlements are not uncommon. I think I'm just going to pick the middle one. We kind of already have like heavy room for conflict with like human inter-circle conflict, and that's kind of what I want to focus on. Well, not focus on necessarily, but have as like the main form of fighting and conflict in the land. Like I don't just want this to be a game where we go out and try and slay a dragon. So I think I'm going to take this so there's still dangerous things in the wilds, and when we go out there we'll potentially meet them, but we're not like constantly living in fear of getting murdered on the road by a big dog or something. Cool. Firstborn in place of our old gods. And finally horrors, which again is like ghosts and ghoulies and zombies and skeletons and things. So how much evil, weird stuff like that do we want to include? Nothing but stories to frighten children. We are wary of dark forests and deep waterways, for monsters lurk in those places. In the depths of the long night, when all is wreathed in darkness, only fools venture beyond their homes. And then finally, the dead do not rest in the Iron Lands. At night we light torches, scatter salt, and post sentries at the gate. It is not enough, they are coming. I think my answer is going to be pretty similar to the thing with the beasts here. I don't want this to be like the focus of our game, but I do want it to be a thing that could happen to us if we go into the wrong place, and keep that option on the table. So I'm just going to pick the middle one. We are wary of dark forests and deep waterways. Continuous. So worse things still lurk in deep forests and dark waterways. Yep. Reef in darkness. Only fools venture beyond their homes. Do we want to add anything to anywhere? Let's have a think. Let's kind of summarize maybe and see if that helps us. So we, humans from the old world, came 2 generations ago after our home was destroyed by terrible disaster, and people blame this on the old gods either turning away from us or destroying us for our sins, but in any case, something that seemed like the natural world would not even be capable of, but yet came from the winds and the rains and the earth cracking beneath our ground, destroyed it. We came here and established these communities called circles, which range in size from like small, steadings and hamlets up to, larger villages, and then sometimes inter-village circles as well. These trade and feud between each other with varying leaderships and customs, and when they do feud, they have organised militaries called, they're described here as warbands. We can come up with a name for them. That might be a fun thing to do. But they go out and fight to either defend territory or take territory, perhaps raid other villages for these reasons, and that means that circles might have histories of things that are far away from them because they got into some feud long ago and have been warring over the wild terrain of the Iron Lands. Yep. We have magic, which is rare and dangerous, but people know it exists, and those who have the gift can use it. I think we missed one. Did we miss iron? I feel like we must have done. Aha, okay. Yeah, we missed a page. I was like, I knew there were some questions here. Right, here we go. Right, there's a question about iron in here somewhere, and legacies as well, which we should do. Oops, this might help. Cool. The imposing hills and mountains of the Ironlands are rich in iron ore. Most prized of all is the star-forged black iron. For it is bleak, rain and wind sweep in from the ocean. The winters are long and bitter. One of the first letters complained, only those made of iron dare live in this foul place, and thus our land was named. Inscrutable metal pillars are found throughout the land. They are iron grey and smooth as river stone. No one knows their purpose. Some say they are as old as the world. Some, such as the iron priests, worship them and swear vows upon them. Most make the warding sign and hurry along their way when they happen across one. The pillars do not tarnish, and even the sharpest blade cannot mark them. I really like inscrutable metal pillars. I think it's just really cool. We have a bit of magic in the world already, but I like this idea of these like strange structures in the ground. Perhaps some people think that they ward against the vengeance of the gods. That sounds kind of nice, like if these weird, almost alien structures lay across the Ironlands. Sounds fun. It talks about the Iron Priests again. Who are they? Are they nice? Are they horrible? How many are there? We can figure that out as we go. Yeah, let's do that. Let's put this in the middle. Actually, it should be back up here. Come on, roll 20. Okay. Inscrutable iron pillars found across the land. Yeah, iron grey and smooth as river stone. Some, such as the Iron Priests, worship these strange monoliths. Not technically a monolith, I guess. It's not made of rock, but whatever. Monoliths. Most are wary of them and make a warding sign as they pass by. The Firstborn, or the Firstborn, to sort of know something about this, because we obviously have relationships with the Firstborn, they should know something. Firstborn do not know their origins either, I think. Either taught us to give them to keep our distance from pillars. Cool. Cool and strange. So that's iron, and then also legacies, which we missed. We were the first humans to walk these lands. Other humans sailed here from the old world untold years ago, but all that is left of them is a savage, feral people we call the Broken. Is it their fate to become our own? Is their fate to become our own? And before the Ironlanders, before even the Firstborn, another people lived here. Their ancient ruins are found throughout the Ironlands. Ooh. See, that kind of works, right, with the metal pillars. I mean, I've said that the Firstborn don't know the origin of the pillars, but I think the idea that there are also these ancient ruins here, and you know, and another people, like it says legacies and it seems to be about humans, but it doesn't necessarily have to be humans. It could just be that we think they were human, or maybe no one knows. Yeah. Some think these pillars were placed here, or are pillars are relics of those who came before even the Firstborn. Should get a name for these as well. Firstborn. The mysterious people whose ruins are found across. Is that how you spell across? I think so. Yeah. Found. Throughout the Ironlands. Cool. Yeah. Alright. That's strange and fun. I like it. So, right, so apart from these strange monoliths, we also have just rare and dangerous magic. Most believe the gods turned away from us when our old home was lost, and therefore no longer follow the faith of the old world. A few devout followers still pray for redemption, but most see this as a futile path, and some have adopted the religions of the Firstborn in place of our old gods. We share these lands openly with the Firstborn. Although they treated us with suspicion at first, we now trade and meet with them on the roads between circles. Outside the havens, some circles have brought Firstborn into their communities, and some humans have even left behind their circles for the elven clans. Our circles continue to grow, and some say the Firstborn may come to fear us or resent us for the wars and expansion we've brought.
Monstrous beasts stalk the wild areas of these lands. Worse things still lurk in the deep forests and dark waterways. In the depths of the long night, when all is reefed in darkness, only fools venture beyond their homes. So there are bad things out in the darkness of the world. I want to add something here, actually, because Magic doesn't have much written about it. There's a little like minor setting alteration I'm going to do. So the default setting, the reason this game is called Ironsworn, in case you didn't know, is it's about swearing vows and then fulfilling them. That's kind of like the main thing that's going to drive our character throughout whatever story we choose to tell. But the idea is when you like swear a vow and you touch a piece of iron, it like that makes it a sacred vow, and that connects it to the old gods. I think is like the suggestion of where this tradition came from. I don't think that really works because we've sort of said most people have abandoned the old religions of the gods. Obviously, it could still be a cultural artifact that just people do anyway because we like doing it. But I kind of like the idea that iron is magical in some way. We have these strange magic pillars of iron, but I like the idea that iron is linked to the other magic of the world as well. Like iron is a conduit for magic, and the vow is, although most people can't do real magic, it's like it's seen as a ritual. Like if you touch the iron while you make a vow, it changes the world. It makes your words true because you're touching something magical, and magic is about exerting your voice, your words, and truth onto the world. I feel like that kind of fits this version of the setting a little bit better than making it a religious gesture. So I'm going to write that down. And it also means that we just have a relationship between iron and magic. Iron is a conduit for magic. And swearing an iron vow turns mortal words into a persistent magical truth. So, you know, if you say the words and then people at least believe that you'll be cursed by the magic of your vow if you fail to fulfill it. That sounds fun. And again, that means that like these inscrutable pillars, there's probably some assumption that they have some magic to them, especially because they can't be damaged by regular blades and are perfectly smooth and stuff. But it's perhaps terrifying magic, perhaps powerful magic. No one's figured it out yet because they're weird pillars left by the real first people, the people before the Firstborn. We should name those people. Make them something to do with these pillars. Make them be called iron workers or something. Tower builders. What should we call these people? Those who built these objects and left. Those whose ruins we now walk amongst are called the... If anyone's watching and you have a good idea for this, I am more than open to suggestions. And if anyone wants to suggest things other than perhaps we were ruled by a duke, I see you, Alex, telling people we are ruled by a duke. Yeah, I'm open to ideas on that one. I will add that in the old world, perhaps we were ruled by a duke. Thanks, Alex. Yeah. I might call them like the tower builders, tower smiths. It's a dumb name. Let me see. There's
this game has a bunch of random tables we can roll on. That might be a good idea.
So, a bit of a peek into the mechanics of this game, or this part of the mechanics is literally just a bunch of random tables, which we can roll D100 on. So there's just theme tables, which could kind of help inspire a name. Or also just like actual name generators for different things. These are obviously like people names, Ironlander names, challenge ranks, major plot twists, mystical backlashes and things, character roles. Yeah, we could maybe roll on here and have like a synonym or something, or like try and see if that helps inspire us. So let's actually roll some dice. This is just me testing things earlier. This game's mechanic system is weird. Roll D100. 22. 22. Solution. Or labour. See, they say go up or down. I like labour. I'm just going to call these people the builders. I feel like their ruins are like impressive in some way. Yeah, we can tell even if they're ruined now that these used to be like structures far beyond the level that we now create. Sounds like kind of a fun thing. Yeah, okay. So that works for me. Alright, so we've got a basic idea of the world, and obviously we're going to zoom in somewhere next as we start making a character. So we're going to sort of, at the same time as making a character, I want to figure out where I want this game to be set. My initial thought is I don't really want to set it in the Havens, which is like the peaceful, nice bit of the world. I want this to start out in somewhere dangerous, and perhaps one day, you know, if I play this for long enough, then we will return to the Havens or go to the Havens or whatever to do something nice. But I want to be somewhere kind of rugged and dangerous. But other than that, I'm kind of open still to ideas. Maybe the hills, maybe this nice coast, deep wilds, or what have you. Cool. So I'm going to save our the world document and jump over to the character creation part of the rulebook, because I want a reminder on how to make a character in this game. And I'll do like a brief explanation for those of you viewing what I'm choosing when I'm choosing things. It actually says to create your character first, but I don't think that really makes sense. I think world building first is more interesting. Is it somewhere? Summary. There we go. So envision your character, choose a name, choose our stats, set some stats to certain values, mark up to 3 background bonds, so these are going to be people or communities that we have relationships with. Pick 3 assets, which are like kind of mechanical customizations for our character that are all based in like particular aspects, so you can get a companion or certain combat styles or rituals that we know. Make note of any important items or equipment we have. Set a background vow, so that's something which our character like swore to do a long time ago, and then we think of an inciting incident and we swear an iron vow to embark upon some dangerous quest. Cool. Right, so let's start on page 31. Envision your character. So I'll just reread this. Like I said, I kind of read the rulebook before, but I want to just remind myself what I'm meant to be doing here. So we are awesome, we are competent, smart, brave and driven, we can hold our own in a fight, and we swear an iron vow we mean it. Cool. We're not without limitations, so things will still be bad. This game looks like it has a lot of just like getting wrecked if we try and do things badly. But that'll be fun when we do it. Overcoming those failures is what makes you heroic. Nice. We be who we want. So this game has like a lot of kind of Viking-y aesthetic and like some of the art. I'll try and find an example. Maybe this cool person. And that's cool, but it also is like it's a fancy world, and the people within that aesthetic are as diverse as you can want them to be. Different race, gender, etc. Background is not really constrained at all to us. The default is human-centric, and they don't include any extra rules if we wanted to play as an elf or something, but I think we're fine playing as a human. We have
like I said, in our world, a lot of like interaction between the Firstborn and the humans potentially, but I'm happy playing a human. I think our story still wants to be centered on the human side of things. And yeah, it actually says you can build a world first or do both in tandem if you have a clear idea. I wanted to do the world first because I think it helps inspire things for me, but let's go back into reading mode. That's the thing about that. So, basics, name. I'm going to just randomize quite a lot of this stuff to make it simple. Like when we do more of our concept, we'll kind of do that. But name, I'm actually going to use those tables again. So, island names. Where is it? Island names. So there are 2 tables. Believe it's is it meant to be male names and female names, I think. Island names, cool. Okay. Surnames are not used in the islands, so that's convenient. Okay. Names are often gender neutral. Okay, so it's not split by gender. That is fine by me. Cool. Let's just, so it's effectively a D200, right? Because it's 2 tables. Yeah. Let's roll. So if it's it's over 100, we'll use the second table. It is not. 19. Island names. We are Farina. Cool. I have a character sheet here. Let's start filling this out. Just actually getting the name here. It's spelled like that. Yeah. Save changes. Cool. I think we're probably a woman, just because that name sounds feminine to me, and I'm going to roll with that. Let's drag this out a little bit. Cool. So, next step. I believe we need to pick our stats. I've expanded too many lists here, this is a problem. Okay, yeah, here we go. So we're going to assign our stats. So we have Edge, our quickness, agility, and prowess in range combat. Heart, our courage, willpower, empathy, sociability, and loyalty. Iron, our physical strength, endurance, aggressiveness, and prowess in close combat. Shadow, our sneakiness, deceptiveness, and cunning. And our wits, our expertise, knowledge, and observation. And we get a 3, a 2, a 2, a 1, and a 1 to assign. I think I want to play someone who's quite sociable, but can also hold their own in close combat. That kind of makes sense to me. Like, yeah, a brave but friendly warrior, not shadowy, not sneaky necessarily. So I think our 3 is going in heart or iron, and then the 2 in the other one, and then a 2 in either edge or wits, and then 1's in shadow and the other one of edge or wits. I'm not bothered about being amazingly great at close combat, so I think I'm actually going to put the 3 in heart. Or I could put it in iron though. Be good at fighting. No, I want to be courageous and sociable with people. Yeah, let's do 3 in heart, 2 in iron, 2 in edge, and then 1 in shadow and wits. So we're not sneaky and we're not expert on knowledge or observant. Obviously we're still competent. We're not, you know, we're not foolish or ignorant or anything like that. We don't have any particular edge in those abilities. Yeah. So that is a 3, a 2 in iron, quite quick, but we're not sneaky and we're not particularly intelligent or witty.
Health is our health stat. It starts at +5. If it goes to 0, bad things might happen to us. Same for spirit, which is like our willpower, our mental health stat. Don't want that to go to 0 either, so that's +5. And our supplies, which are a vague group of equipment and supplies, and we don't want that to go to 0 either, so those just all start at 5. That's fine. Momentum. So this is a interesting stat this game uses. I'm not going to explain the whole thing right now. When we roll dice, if we have high momentum, we can cancel the bad dice we're rolling, assuming our momentum's positive. If it's negative, it starts cancelling our dice, which is bad, and it generally like increases as we succeed at things and decreases when you do badly at things. Yeah, it starts at +2, our max is +10, and our reset is +2, so when we spend it, we reset to +2. And if we get debilities, which are things which are causing problems for us, those drop to page 26. Drop to +2, and there's more of those on page 26. Vows. Okay, yeah, so this talks about swearing vows. I see, page 195. Oops. Should we go to page 195 and see if is that a more... here we go. Yeah, right. This is where we were. I knew that was the section we were reading through. Okay. So let's have a think a bit more about who this person is, because I think the next thing we're going to do is talk about bonds, and then we're going to do our vows and our inciting incident. So we know we are friendly and a competent warrior. We're brave and tough and fast. We're not particularly, knowledgeable or sneaky or deceptive. So to me, this says that we probably are or were part of a circle, like we had a place where we were, friendly with people, and now perhaps we're about to go out on our own, or perhaps we're about to go, looking for something, or perhaps we've been travelling for a while. We can figure that out. So I suppose we should choose where our story begins here as well. So I'll flick through the setting again to work out where we want to start. Your world, okay. So, barrier islands, crashing waves and currents, gliding seabirds, shipwrecks, fisherfolk, seaborne raiders, ferocious winds. Cool. Long string of islands paralleling the ragged coast, beautiful but imposing, slate-like grey cliffs, waterfalls, boats and the like, fisherfolk who brave the surrounding waters. Their settlements cling to narrow rock-strewn shores. Nice. The ragged coast, marked by massive fjords, rugged land of snow-capped cliffs overlooking blue waters. It's got rocky shorelines and trade ships, monstrous serpents, orca, and raiders sounding the drums of war. Longhouses with rune-marked river stones. Yeah, cool. The deep wilds, forest, probably elves I assume are here. Yep, elves ever watchful, lingering fogs, constant rain, ancient trees, streams, and thick canopies. Yeah, a few ironlands live along the fringe of the deep wilds. It's probably if we were around here there'd be more elves and things around. Flooded lands, fetid wetlands, beguiling ghost lights, biting insects, sluggish rivers, ponds, lakes, mist, creatures lying just beneath the surface, bogs and swamps. Few hardy ironlanders live here in small settlements built atop hillocks or in homes standing on stilts over wetlands. Cool. The havens, walled settlements, rocky bluffs and verdant heaths. Yeah, so this is, I think, one of the more populous areas, I would assume, because it's just kind of rough, grassy shrubland and low hills. Yeah, a relative oasis in a fierce and caring land, as it says here. Again, I don't really want to sort of set the game here. I want to... We might be from the Havens, but we are somewhere else now.
kind of like the idea of playing a character where this is not the first time we're leaving our home. We left somewhere behind a while ago, and it exists. And we can make up some little stuff about our home, which may well be in the Havens, but we already travelled somewhere. The hinterlands. Dense forest against road terrain, Ironlanders foraging and hunting, hungry beasts stalking the land of Varu, howling their war song. Cool. Isolated Ironlanders settlements, primarily as bases for hunters and trappers. Farmers do best they can. Winters are bitter and harsh. I think this is just like north of the Havens on the map, closer to the mountains and things. And the Tempest Hills, stunted forests, howling winds, waterfalls and mining settlements. Wary giants keeping their distance, mammoths grazing in alpine meadows. Highlands are defined by rugged hills and low mountains, thin conifer woods and wide grassy plateaus leading up to the heights of the veiled mountains. Through most seasons, the constant ill winds break against the sides of these hills. Nomadic Ironlanders live among the hills, herding livestock. Others live in mining settlements, drawing iron ore from riverbeds and shallow digs. Furnaces sending up plumes of black smoke convert the ore into wrought iron, sent south for trade with the Havens. Come across a land of a rich source of unclaimed iron and silver among these hills. Okay, seems kind of cool. I like this. This is kind of a rougher version of the Havens to me. It's just like a bit more exciting because there's almost mining. It's got giants and mammoths and things. It's cool. The Veiled Mountains. Massive peaks shrouded in roiling clouds, howling beasts, circling wyverns, stone cairns marking the dead, abandoned settlements and precarious mountain trails. The Vales. These great mountains mark the northern bounds of the settled lands. They are almost perpetually surrounded in cloud, snow and mist. On a rare day they are visible to the those islands far south from the Havens. The sight of the towering peaks is enough to inspire a mix of fear and awe. Again, I like mountains. This is cool. I could see our game wanting to be here. With the shattered wastes. Vast fields of broken ice. Piercing cold, discomforting stillness, deep crevasses plunging into darkness, unnatural horrors breaking through the ice. The north of the Veiled Mountains like this. This is the north bit in Game of Thrones, I guess. Full of horrid dead things or other horrors beneath the ice. It's cool. I like this picture here of all the like broken up ice. Looks actually really scary and dangerous. Again, I don't want to start our game in the middle of like these horrid wastelands, but perhaps we will go there if we want something exciting to do. Alright, I like the idea of starting in the Tempest Hills because it's fun for me, but as I said earlier, I kind of like the idea of a character being from the Havens originally, so let's have a look. Yeah, or from the Hinterlands originally, perhaps. Nah, Havens, there's enough room here that we could have journeyed. So I think we lived somewhere north in the Havens and we've come to the Tempest Hills already, and we're going to start the game in the Tempest Hills. So, right, I'm going to start making notes on this map. And hopefully Roll20 is going to cooperate with me. We can put text down. So let's make some markers on our map. What colour goes well over this map? How do I pick that up? Yeah. Okay, let's rotate. This is a real game. Alright, I'm going to try it again. Text. Okay. It's kind of a... I guess maybe just make it a bit thicker. I wonder if like no, brown's going to be bad, right? I'm really bad at colours. Let's just try black again. 1 and 2. Maybe it wants to be white. Every time I try and do this, it... 2. That's more like it. 1. So let's put something like here. Like this kind of row of hills. Like here, it's on the border of the hinterlands. Then there's our original place, and I'm gonna make more text, this time in black, with a key. Actually, no, I'll put it on the map so it can still be in white. And we will name our settlements using the Oracle. Settlement names. Okay, cool. So these are like suggestions for what we could have. Or we can just roll on this cool table. We're probably going to roll on this cool table. And I'm going to start using these a lot more, I think. Right. So we're going to need 2 rolls, so let's get 2 settlement names. The first one's going to be for number 1, and the second one for number 2. 59. Oh, each one is 2 halves, I think. So the first one is 5992, and the second one 2d100s. It's 417. So 5992 is new stead. Cool. That seems like a good name for like a Havens village or town that we're from originally. So 1 new stead. Okay, that does work now. Don't really need this to be too big, do I? Let's leave room for plenty of things in the future. Didn't want to do that. Should maybe move these to the other layer. Token layer. So I never accidentally move the map again, because that is going to be awkward. I think we're somewhere like that. Right, let's go to the token layer. And another piece of text. For number 2, which was 417. White Ford. Yeah, cool. I guess it's over a river. To White Ford. And I'm also going to roll just to get like a little bit of an idea about what these places are like, because that's useful to have in mind. And I'm going to make notes. So this for world, I want to just be like our truths about the world, and then I'm going to make a new handout where I can like record extra information about certain places. So I'm going to have so many handouts when I'm done with this. Right, so let's just do settlements as a handout. Let's call them circles, actually. Right, 1 new stead. Bold this. And then 2 White Ford, and I'm going to put where they are. So this is in the Tempest Hills. And Newstead is in the Havens. Hometown. Home village, I think. And let's... It's kind of weird I'm using a royal we for this, but it feels more natural. Right, so we got some names. We can get location descriptors, and we can also get descriptors for like people, character descriptors. So we can kind of, I think, like 1 location descriptor, and then a couple of character descriptors, like say what the townspeople are kind of like, is a fun way to do this. I'm definitely stealing this from Adam Coble, who did a good playthrough of this game, which maybe go watch if you don't like my content. So, save that just for a second while I roll some more dice. So I'm going to get first one is going to be a location description, and the other 2 are character descriptions. So Newstead is a 48 and 8652. So
location descriptors, 48. Mystical. Okay, cool. So it's mystical. Let's put like a separate line just for these like descriptions. Italics. Actually, I don't like italics, I'm going to put these in parentheses. Already done that there, but whatever. Just remind me what I rolled. Characters were 8652. Sick. Okay. And cautious. Alright. Cool. Sick. Cautious. Right. Interesting. Okay. Let's have a little think about that before we roll on the next one. So, what's mystical about our hometown? I want to roll this idea. We can obviously reject things when we roll the Oracle, but it's more fun trying to work out why this makes sense. So, it could be that we just have more people that can do rituals than normal, like we're a good circle for magicians to be in. Yeah, kind of like that idea. So, although I don't necessarily know if we're going to have any rituals, but we can look at that as we do character generation. So, this home village. So we're home to more mystics than usual. And is this because we know more, or is it just like a thing we can't explain? What's a fun way of bringing that aspect in? I think we have like a renowned sort of set of mystical teachers, so people might come to us for aid learning magic arts when they think they have talent. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. So, home to a small community of skilled mystic tutors who offer their services to those with the gift. A magic is dangerous, which I think kind of explains the caution, right? Like, yeah. We're cautious because we know that, acting, it's sort of firstly this cultural thing of these tutors sort of teach that precision and control is just a valuable trait to have, which is true when you're doing magic. So, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, we respect caution and forethought as a way to engage with the mystic arts without the risk of unleashing dark forces. Then recently, the village was struck with a strange sickness, and maybe our background vow can tie into that somehow. What did the sickness do? Let's think. Is there a way we can roll on the table to determine what this sickness does? I mean, if it's to do with magic, we can have a look at that. This is kind of more for a single ritual. I think that's sudden sickness. Theme. Does this work? Action. Can we use this? I'll roll on theme and see if it inspires me somehow. $68. Portent. Okay, those with the sickness have strange dreams. Yeah. Those afflicted pass into deep bouts of sleep for weeks at a time. When they wake, they report strange dreams told them of doom coming to a village. Strange dreams warning them of some dark fate. No, use dark already. Of doom. Of the collapse of the collapse of the circle. Yeah. Cool. Weird magic dream sickness. I like that. Recently, but before we left, in recent years, let's say. Okay, that's cool. It tells us about us. It means that maybe we do want to have a ritual on our character, coming from this mystical village, but I did choose a low wits, and I imagine that's going to be the stat we roll for those. Well, that might be fun, so we'll get there when we get there. Then Whiteford in the Tempest Hills, which is where we are now. So let's do another 3D 100 roll. Get some descriptors for this place as well. If I get like the same things I got before, then I might skip it, but these look new unless these are the same. But okay, so 80, then 46 and 49. Location descriptor 80. Empty. Ooh, okay. Sure. Empty and 46. Cunning and charming. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Empty. Cunning. Charming. Okay. Seems kind of sinister to me, but adding charming to any like set of descriptors that already has a negative trait in, and this one kind of has two negative traits in it, just feels like super it just increases the sinister nature of it. So alright, this is empty. Right, it's in the Tempest Hills. Let's go back to our page about the Tempest Hills and figure out why this place is empty. We have mammoths and giants, caravans hauling bounties of ore, mining settlements and nomadic encampments on high plateaus. Furnaces sending up plumes of black smoke convert the ore into wrought iron, sent south for trade with the havens. Yeah. So this could be a town where the mine has like dried up, right? Like it's been mined out and most people have moved on. And the people who still stay here are you know, they're cunning folk, and they're also quite charming, which implies to me that they are sort of swindlers and criminals. Maybe this is like a trade route, and the people who live here still are preying on the caravans and trying to trick people or raid their caravans and things. Okay, let's do that. Yeah. This mining town owns ore long since ran dry. Those who still remain here, it says empty, but I think that's like relatively empty. It means there are abandoned houses and stuff. So remain here are cunning folk. Many fortune of unwary traders and unwary trading caravans, and either by word or by blade. So this is, again, we already picked our wits to be quite low. It's not a nice place for us to be, but that's fun. Right, yeah, okay. So it's like this old mining settlement with like maybe just little bits of the mining infrastructure. Like it's probably still a forge near the mine where they used to convert the ore, and you know, like the remnants of mining shafts or tunnels or just digging pits or whatever. I don't know how they mine things, but a lot of the houses are emptied out and left to decay. Cool, that's fun. Right, let's put circles here. So it uses people for like specific people and factions for wider factions. If we think of any, I will put them in there. Okay, that helps us a bit, right? So we know now that we left our town. So either I think we're looking for a cure for this strange magic sickness, or to know something about it, or we had the sickness and we had a dream, a portent from this sickness that has taken us on this journey. Which one of those is more fun? We think about it more when we do background vow as well, because that's kind of what it's going to define, I think. Yeah, vows. I want the bit where it talks about gameplay in depth. Okay, this is where it really does for creating the character stuff. Yeah. Mark your bonds, man. These bonds may be to a community or to an individual. You do not need to make the forge a bond move for restarting bonds. Mark a tick for each bond on your character sheet and make note of them. Yeah, we're not playing guided or co-op. If we'd rather jump right and play with fleshes out later, but we should think about this. So I think we should mark a bond with the village of Newstead in general. That's a simple one, right? So yeah. So where do we mark our bonds? Up here. Cool. So we have one tick. So each of these boxes is 4 stages. In like IRL play, you're meant to do like a line, then a cross, then a diagonal line across the cross, and then a star. But obviously we're using this Roll20 sheet. So bonds. Actually, I'm going to use this. I'm going to leave this notes section for assets. So that's again make another handout, like I like to do. Just keep note of what our bonds are. Think a bit more about who we were in Newstead as well as we go, and that might inspire another bond. Home village is, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. We can add more as we go. And people, let's roll some more names at least and figure it out. So I want someone I know in Whiteford. So let's get a name. And names. Yeah, I'll do the D200 again for this. 121, so second table, 21. Torgan. Who is Torgan? So Torgan in Whiteford. I'll add in people as well. Let's get some descriptors. So, what does he do? He is a 37. A 37 is a sailor. That doesn't really make sense to me, so I'm probably gonna re-roll that. Because, or what's a 73? What have we? So Fisher, I think I can go with. I think there's rivers around here. It's Whiteford, but I don't think it's big enough for a sailor, really. So he's a fisher. Yeah, okay. Although, maybe that's what he tells me he does. Let's get some other descriptions. Character goals. I don't really think we need that right now. But I would like, let's do 2 descriptors for him. And 20. So Torgan is oblivious and hostile. Okay, great. Fisher. Oblivious, hostile. Okay. So I think me and Torgan are like the 2 people in this town who just absolutely haven't figured out that that everyone around here is a criminal. Yeah. Or maybe I'm figuring it out and I'm trying to tell Torgan, but he doesn't like it. Okay. But he's still bonded with me, so we still have a relationship. What do we do together? Is there any way to generate that? Theme? What unites us? Yeah. Okay, that could work. Let's get another D100. Many D100 rolls. 65. Let's dream again. Structural community. Torgan was in my portent dream. Okay, yeah. Yep. That has to be it, right? Torgan the Fisher was in my portent dream. I'm not sure why, but I knew I had to meet him. He doesn't seem very interested in whatever fate is weaving here, but I've at least managed to befriend him, despite his unsociable nature. So he hangs out in the town, he sells his fish from the river for coin or what have you. I think it's mostly a barter economy actually, in return for whatever goods he needs. But he keeps his distance from everybody and therefore hasn't actually really figured out what the deal with the town is. He just wants to fish. Yeah, he just wants to fish. Simple. And then I show up and I started trying to persuade him that he was important in some way, but he's got absolutely nothing to do with it. Yeah, he wants nothing to do with us and nothing to do with his weird fate. Okay, that's cool. Let's get a 3rd bond, or I will mark that I've added a 2nd one to my sheet. Cool. So I either want another Whiteford bond or someone who's sort of out on the road somewhere. I think I don't want a particular person in Newstead because that's I don't know, that's a long way away. I don't know when we're going back there, if we're ever going back there. So I'm gonna say if I roll over 80 on this D100, then it's someone who's on the road, and if it's under that, then it's someone who's around here. Okay, so it's someone out on the road. Some kind of travelling person. Let's get a name. $45. I should have done 2 D100s, whatever. Zan, or Zan, or Jan. like Jeanne. Okay. So there's some kind of travelling something or other. What's their role? An 83. So Jeanne's a hunter. Okay, perfect. So maybe they're nearby somewhere in the Tempest Hills, but they're not like in Whiteford most of the time. But we met them during our travels, and then let's get some traits. 93 and a 30. Hot-tempered and stern. Okay, right. I'm not meeting very many friendly people here. Hunter, hot-tempered, stern. So we met Jeanne out on the road and we helped them with some kind of problem, I think, because there's a problem descriptor thing we can roll. So I like this idea that we did something with them. So it's a settlement trouble or character goal. I like the idea we helped them with a goal they have. Maybe we didn't like help them complete it, but we helped them take a step towards it. Seek a truth. Ooh, okay, what truth does Jeanne want to know about? Let's get a theme for that truth. 76. Jeanne wants to know about their rival. Okay, here we go. Yeah, right. Jeanne the hunter. Is someone we met on the roads before we came to Whiteford. They have a bitter rivalry with a fellow hunter who was mysteriously able to track their common prey much more effectively. And I didn't vow or anything, but I helped Jeanne. Maybe that's not the truth I unveiled. I'm not sure if that's exciting enough. Row with a fellow hunter. Let's get a name for their fellow hunter. Ironland names. That's not what I want. I want D200. 36. Sibylla. Help Jeanne work out some truth about Sibylla. Let's get a theme for this truth. These random tables are excellent. $37. Vow, or world or protection. If you want to go up one, or 73, memory, no. Vow, I think Sibylla does something untoward, and Jeanne has vowed, a fellow Ironsworn, that's cool, to uncover this truth, and I helped them do it. Vowed to expose Sibylla's claim to have hunted the largest mountain lion. Yeah, sure.
As a lie, hunted actually a giant mountain lion. As a lie, and I helped him do this. Help them. I think Jam is non-binary. Yeah. Cool. Nice. Jan's also pretty angry. Just gonna like put it right there. Gonna delete that. So it's in and it's in my porcelain dream during the sickness. Cool, that's Firstborn. Nice. Save. And I'm also going to quickly just copy this text into people and add a little bit just to mention Sabila as factions and people. I know it's kind of weird to have like bonds and people separately, but sometimes we'll meet NPCs that we want to note down. Jan's rival. What traits does she have? So we know she's a hunter already, so we don't need to roll for that. But actually get some character descriptors. And 18. She's clever and active. Okay. I don't think we need too much detail on her right now, but I just wanted to have a note. Save that. Cool. That's people. Right, and we have a third tick in our bonds. And the reason this track is important, in case it matters. And firstly, when we have bonds with people, it can sometimes help us when we roll, when we actually start playing this game. And then also when we eventually finish our game and retire, the bonds you form determine your fate. So that's fun. Right. So I've got my character descriptor. Sorry, got my bonds. So now write your background vow. So when you create your character, you give yourself a background vow to represent a primary motivation or ultimate goal. This vow is part of your character's backstory. It may have been sworn years ago, or once you reaction to some recent major event. So write down this vow and give it a rank of extreme or epic. You don't need to make the swear and iron vow move for this quest. So, like I kind of said, I think we had this portent dream from the sickness, which everybody gets. So not everybody swears a vow after they have this dream. That's not how it works. And everyone's dreams are different, but they all relate to doom. I think mine had something that was actionable, which has caused me to swear this vow, and that's why I've struck out to of the village as well. And we're heading north, and the mountains are above us. We have those cool pillars, and I think I dreamt about one of those. Either in the mountains or in the wastes, and like I have to do something there. I know I have to find this pillar, and I think I saw a person there as well. And my dream is the only one that didn't have any doom in it, and that's why I've sworn this vow. I think that makes sense, right? It's very chosen one-y. I don't care. It's a story about me. So I dreamt of a mysterious figure standing in front of one of the great iron pillars,
I want it to be on a mountaintop because that's cool. So it's not in the wastes. It's on a mountaintop, and I saw a mysterious figure standing there, and I've vowed to find that pillar. And I assume the figure will be there as well. But the actual vow I swore was to find the pillar from my dreams. Cool. Yeah, that sounds fun. So I vowed to find the iron pillar that I saw in my dreams. And it has to be extreme or epic. I think this is extreme. These things exist, right? And they're not, you know, like... I didn't see anything dangerous in the dream necessarily, or it's on a high mountain. And as a sort of metagame thing, I want this to be a thing where I can get there and fulfill that vow, but still have things that need to come after it. So I've sworn to find the iron pillar, the mountaintop iron pillar that I saw in my dreams. Yeah, nice. So yeah, and this happened to us, and we were racked by the sickness. How old are we? I think we're in our, I think we're about 30, and we'd lived our life, and we'd grown up in Newstead, and studied or learned to fight or learned to do magic. We'll figure that out in a minute. And then we were racked by the sickness in our late 20s, and then we dreamt of this pillar, and almost as soon as we woke up, we, not the second, but, you know, a week or so later, we couldn't stop thinking about it, and we swore a vow to leave the village behind and go and find the pillar I saw in my dreams. It's cool, yeah. And that was, I want to say, like a year ago. So we've already been on the road for a year, and we've made our way up to the hills, at least. And things have just been slow going because it's hard terrain and we need to eat and survive out on our own in the world. Yeah, cool. Don't really need to do anything else with that. Yep. Cool. And it doesn't have to be something we actually play out, but I think it might be. And this means we have room to move north into the mountains, and if we do so, we probably mark progress. Envision your inciting incident. Right. This is more interesting. Inciting incident is a problem which arrives at the beginning of a story, propelling the protagonist into action. Everything up to that point is backstory, a normal world to which your characters become accustomed. In Ironsworn, the inciting incident is the tipping point which forces you to undertake a life. Okay, so we'd kind of moved out a little bit already, and this is going to be something that disturbs what had been sort of comfortable life on the road. So we've been travelling for a year and we hadn't got that far, and I think maybe we were starting to wonder if the pillar was ever going to be something we found, but we knew that we had to at least leave the village behind because we're not going to give up on an iron vow like that. So, you know, to return to a village before I fulfill my vow is forsaking your vow, which you're not meant to do. There's rules for what happens in this game. If you do that, it's bad. So I'm going to have something now that kind of kicks us out of this stupor that we've been in terms of not really getting anything done. So make it personal, make it a problem that won't go away on its own, give it a ticking clock, make it universal. That's if you're playing with allies. So if you're playing co-op, up the stakes. Vision competition, dire for you, your family, or your community. Limit the scope. Unlike your background vow, this is a problem which you can and must deal with now. Gameplay, turns, you swear an iron vow. Okay, so we're actually going to roll a move in a second, which is fun. I can control something dangerous. I think we might need to pick assets as well soon, so I should probably do that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So think about this inciting incident. I'm not going to roll the swear a vow move until we've got our assets, but so we've got Torgan and Jan as people who could be involved here, and we do also sort of, again, we know things about the place in the world that we're in. Let's get some reminders though. There are giants here, that could be interesting. Yeah. And we know that Torgan is important to us somehow, so I want him to be in peril. As ridiculous as that might sound. Yeah, that does make it personal. There are, bandits in this town, effectively, people who aren't very nice. And we've said that Torgan is hostile to them, so I'm envisioning some kind of conflict there. Can also roll on a table for this, of course. There are so many tables. So there's settlement trouble, but I think that's just going to lead us in circles, really. Action. Yeah, let's roll an action and see what kicks this off. That kind of makes sense, I think. So I'm going to action involving Torgan and the sort of criminal elements of this town. Bolster, explore, seize, probably. So I like the idea that Torgan pissed off because he's hostile. Particularly nasty kind of bandit that lives in the town, and he's been not killed, right? I want this to just be a vengeance thing, but perhaps like captured and taken out of town somewhere. This feels very Western to me, but yeah, let's get a name for someone, a sort of leader of these bandits. Time to roll D100. I should roll D200 for this because there are many names. D200. 177. Highlander names. Could also introduce an elf or a giant or something, but Maya. Okay, cool. So I'm note this on people as well. Torgan pissed off Maya by refusing to discount his fish from the river. And we have Maya, the bandit, which is lady, and yeah, so let's get some traits. Love to roll traits. 1677. Jealous and young. Okay, cool. I think like late teens for young. Like she's like 18 and thinks she's the fucking shit because she's stolen some stuff. Young and jealous was the one, right? Or yeah, was it? That's it. Yeah, 16. Yeah, so she's jealous. Yeah, so I think she's a young bandit trying to make her way out of this town. Tries to live like she's a big shot. But resents the more
more successful criminals. This place sucks. Cool. Yeah. Likes fish. Doesn't like paying. There we go. Yeah, so she's... She's already kind of skipped town. Like, I think she's taking him hostage? Or she probably has, like, an encampment somewhere that I know about. And... yeah, I assume maybe Torgan has, like, a family, and she's going to try and hostage and ransom Torgan back to his family. More to teach him a lesson than for the actual, like, value of it. They probably don't have very much to do. But, like, she's making it clear that things are going to be bad. Okay. Yeah, let's make a note again. Or maybe she took Torgan's family member hostage. That makes more sense, right? Yeah, okay. Let's say Torgan has a son. Yeah, that's fun. Cool. $56. Okoff. Yeah. Hostage. Yeah, okay. Makes sense. And Torgan has come to me for help, and I have sworn. Right, so she's taken his son out of a camp, or out of town somewhere. I don't know where. I assume she has a camp somewhere. That's in my head, but I don't know where it is. And she's taken this guy's son, and I'm gonna go get him back. So I have sworn a vow. So find and rescue Okoff, Torgan's son. This is going to be dangerous. So this rank determines how quickly you progress on a vow. More about that soon. I don't need to put a note there. Yeah. Yeah, okay. And I'm not going to bother typing out this guy's name too much. Okoff is there to be rescued. He doesn't need too many descriptors. Alright. So we do need to roll to do that vow, but like I said, I want to do our... I don't want this. Do our assets first, which I kind of forgot about. So assets are a part of this game which actually let you mechanically customize your character a little bit more. And they, in physical form, would come as cards. But I'm just going to use this PDF, and I'm just going to copy the ability onto my character sheet for now, and if I return to this game, then I might try and make some assets I can put on Roll20 that use these. So there are 4 types. There are companions, there are paths, which kind of like careers or things that have happened to you. There are combat talents, which might describe the way we fight a little better. And finally there are rituals. Okay, so we do use hearts sometimes, which might be useful for us. Okay, yeah. We should have some magic, right? We're from a mystical village. I definitely want to have some magic. And like I said in the world building, like iron, I think makes sense as like a conduit for magic, so we can use that. So I definitely want one of these, but I kind of want to choose it last. Do I want a companion? I think I'd like a companion. Oh, an owl. Owls are cool. Yeah. Definitely taking owl. Okay, right. So I think I'm going to have an owl, because it's a role-playing game. Role-playing games require you to have an owl. And I'll take a path to describe me, or maybe a combat talent. I don't really want my character to be super fighty, particularly. Like, we'll be competent if we fight, but I don't think we need to
start out this game fighting, which would be interesting seeing as we're setting up for like a fight with a bandit potentially, but I'd rather have a ritual, a path, and a companion and not take a combat talent. So let's look at paths first. Let's do this in alphabetical order. So Alchemist, which lets us create potions and the like, and become a potion seller. Animal Kin, which lets us be better at having animal companions and dealing with animals. Bannersworn, which requires you to have a bond with a leader or faction, so I don't even know if we can take this yet. But it's like you become someone's banner person. Battle Scarred, we've not been maimed yet, so we can't take that. Blade Bound, once you mark a bond with a kin blade, a sentient weapon imbued with the spirit of your ancestor. We don't have that yet either. Bonded, you make a move. Okay, so that's just you're better at having your bonds, which might be nice. Like we have a high heart, which kind of implies we're friendly. Dancer, we can dance. We're nimble in that way. Devotant, pray to a god. Make us kind of interesting in the setting if we do, but I don't know if we want that. Empowered, which is you have some kind of title or lineage. Fortune Hunter, like mercenary. Herbalist, heal using herbal remedies, and you have supply you can choose. Yep. Honor Bound. What to do? Vows. Improviser. Quite like Improviser. Let's check wits. Ugh. It's not very good. Infiltrator, breaching, traversing, or hiding. Masked, which is Ellsworn. I don't think I'm going to do a masked thing for Ellsworn, like a game of Spire already. Loyalist, we aid your allies. That's only really going to make sense if we're playing as a group, which we're not. Overbreak, we have Forsaken Vow. Pretender, force it into Revenant. Outcast. Not Outcast, I don't think. Ritualist. If we want to be particularly good at magic, this might be good, but yeah, okay, interesting. Shadowkin, once you become corrupted. Slayer, tracking beasts and horrors sighted. Identify or detect mystic forces. So this could be interesting. Again, we are kind of mystical. Spiritbound, haunted by someone whose death we... Storytelling, trickster, veteran, waterborne or wayfinder, or weapon master. Wild blood and right. Okay. So I actually think there's improviser in here somewhere, right? Which wits is not very good. But I do kind of like the flavour of this. Also quite like herbalist. I like this idea of, again, like our village is mystical, but or we can take ritualist. Or devotant was another one, potentially. Or just bonded, right? Yeah, I like this. I like the idea that we care about our bonds. Completely fill a box in your bonds progress track. Envision what your relationship is. It might not trigger very much at the start, but I kind of like this, right? It gives you experience and momentum for filling out your bonds. Yeah, I want this story to be about bonds as well. So, right, so we're going to take bonded. I'm going to copy that text if I can. So I'm going to put this in the notes. Yeah, okay, great. Assets. And if we level those assets up, we can get the other abilities from them, but for now I'm just going to mark the first one. Okay, and then taking an owl companion, because this is really cool. And it helps with rituals. Sweet. Right. Ooh, we can choose which one we get as well. If you resupply at night by sending your owl to hunt, take +2 momentum on a hit when you enter the fray, plus wits. against an ambush in darkness, +1. Sage, when we use its secret knowledge to perform a ritual, add +1, take +1 momentum on a hit. And embodying, we can roll our owl's health as momentum. I'm going to take this, I'm going to take Sage. So an owl, we should name it. When and health starts at 3. I'll get a name for the owl in a second, but rituals. What bit of spooky magic can we do? Summon a flock of crows to ask a question. Create a simulacrum. Ew. Weird. Bind, wear an animal pelt and dance in moonlight. So we get magic from a pelt of animals. Communion, can speak to the dead. It's a fun one. Divination, move runes to gain insight about subject and people close to them. And he's reading to gather information. Okay. Not sure about that. Invoke, consume a mystical essence of our surroundings. Keen, hold a weapon and sing a keen for those it has killed. Roll +heart. A strong hit, +1 harm when we strike or clash. Roll 1 on the action die when making a move to inflict harm. Magic is spent. A weak hit as above. Voices of those who were slain join in your song and you endure stress. Okay. Leech. Mark your hands or weapon with blood rune. Rune first for blood. Ooh. Light bearer. Focus on source of light. Capture it. Looking for flames. Study a remote personal location. Cloak ourselves with Gossamer Veil of the Shadow Realms. Speak a person's name 3 times to the wind to hear about them, about what they need. Sway them. Fashion a charm, envision it, and name a specific person or creature protects against tether. Commune with the spirits of a place. If you share a bond with someone there, add +1 on a strong hit, you are tethered. When you undertake a journey to return, you can roll +spirit or +heart instead of +wits, and take +1 momentum on a hit. When you reach your destination, +2 momentum on a strong hit. Lost if you go somewhere else, so we bind ourselves to a place. Okay, and we're good at going back there. Totem of our animal companion or beast, and focus on it. Do you have an animal companion? Bound together, add +1, take +1 momentum on a hit when you use a companion ability. Roll a 1 on your action die when using this. Magic is spent. Visage, Visage. Hit someone blood and ash. Fear or intimidation. When you walk a wide circle, sprinkling the ground with salt. Roll +wits to trap things. Okay. It's quite hard to increase stats in this game, so I kind of want to pick something that doesn't involve, yeah, wits. Like, quite like the heart-based ones, obviously, because they're good for us.
Communion's pretty fun. We get to talk to the dead, which is fun. Like, I like the idea that we have a spooky ritual we can do to talk to dead things. Recently deceased intelligent creature. Summon its spirit. +1 if you share a bond. A strong hit, the spirit appears and you may converse for a few minutes. Make moves as appropriate. Add +1. Cool. A weak hit, it also delivers troubling news, unrelated to your purpose. Envision what it tells you and ask the oracle, and endure the stress. Should check. I assume if you miss, you still might take stress from rituals. I'll look at the rules at some point. Can also long dead, right? But we started this one because it's already filled out. Yep, I'm doing that. Cool. Let's talk to dead things. This is going to be very spooky. Okay. Let's get our owl's name. There are other name tables. We should roll on the other names, I think. Not elf, but on the... Okay. We want a giant's name, like Choni, the best name in this book.
Quite like giant names, or elf names as well. I think elves and owls go well together. Let's get an elf name for our owl. On the elf name table is Kendelanu. Nice. We probably shorten that sometimes. Kendelanu. You leverage your owl's secret knowledge to perform a ritual, add +1 or take +1 momentum on a hit to decide for Roy. Okay, cool. We should try and remember these when we play the game. But for now, that is assets done, which means I think we are finally ready to swear an Iron Vow. It's getting close to 8. I need to eat dinner, so I think I might just swear my starting Iron Vow and then come back to this game at a later date. Tomorrow probably actually is a later date for me. I want to play this game, actually get into it, but this has taken a couple of hours. It's been really fun. I like building worlds. I like making characters, and we've started with almost nothing, and we've got to a position where we have a character, we have a backstory and villages and people we know, and it feels like everything's ready to get in motion. So I'm just gonna swear my Iron Vow. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm going to do an actual bit of roleplay on my own, and then we'll roll this move, and then we'll probably quit for today. Right, so I think it's evening in Whiteford when this happens, and I have a room in a house that I've technically just been living in because it's abandoned, because this place is full of empty houses. It's a pretty quiet place, but people know I live here, and I've just been relaxing with a mug of ale, and there's a rapid knock at the door, and I go up and I'm like, oh, what's this? And I swing the door open. Torgan is there, and I see Torgan as being this kind of red-headed, he's in his 30s, and he's got his bright ginger beard, and he's kind of tubby, but he's active enough to go fishing and things, but he well fed for this town certainly, and he looks panicked, and he's desperate, and he goes, please Farina, you have to help me. I don't know what they've done, but my son, my boy, he's gone missing. I think it's Maya. She was mad at me. I wouldn't give her my fish, and I told her I couldn't, but she said I'd pay, and now I can't find him. And I say, whoa, okay, well stop. If she's taken him, this won't stand. And I think I'm taken aback, because normally Torgan is not friendly. He's a hostile person, and I say, I sort of look in the corner, and I have an axe. I don't think I have a sword. Swords are rare. I look at my axe that I took from Newstead when I set out, and I go over and I pick it up, and I place my hand on the axe head, and I say, I swear upon this iron, I will find your son and bring him back to you safely. And now I'm going to roll to swear an Iron Vow. So, got a move summary here. Moves in this game are fun and weird. If you played a Powered by the Apocalypse game, they will look somewhat similar, but instead of rolling against a fixed value, you roll 2d10, and you want to roll over as many of them as possible. Quest moves. There's a lot of moves in this game compared to most PBTA games I've played, but it's fine because it's a fun game and it has a lot of systems in it. I think it's because this game basically has the GM moves and the player moves all have to be player facing. So how does this go? When you swear upon iron to complete a quest, write your vow and give the quest a rank, then roll + heart. We're good at this. If you make this vow to a personal community with whom you share a bond, which we do, add +1. And I believe, because we are bonded, that asset we took, when you make a move which gives you an add for sharing a bond, add +1 more. So we're rolling +2 on our heart. Hopefully that works. Nice. Okay. So our total, so it's 1d6 plus stat plus any bonuses, and we got a 6 plus 3 plus 2, and we want to get over these 2d10s that are rolled separately. So yeah, strong hit. So we resolve, swear an iron vow. On a strong hit, you're emboldened, and it's clear what you must do next. Ask the oracle if unsure. Take +2 momentum. So I think Torgan says, I don't know if it's still there, but she used to leave town sometimes. I think she has a camp out somewhere. I'm gonna roll to find out where. I think that must be where she's taken him, and I'm gonna roll to see where the camp is. But we get +2 momentum. Look, location descriptor. No, it's like location. There we go. That's what we want. Just for location table. And let's make 2 and see if we can get a descriptor on there as well, because that'll be fun. So 85 and then 6. The hill. Yep, we are in the hills, so that makes sense. Exposed hill. Okay. Is there any way to name this quickly? Like, it's not settlement is a thing. Okay, it's fine. So this hill. So yeah, he says they've taken her. No, taken him. She's taken him up Red Hill, I think. Red Hills. It's just north of town. You have to go. And I look. It's night outside, but this seems urgent. And I go and I quickly, you know, I've got my axe already in my hand, and I grab a warm fur cloak because it's going to be a chill night, I think, and throw it over my shoulders, and I start marching out of town. And that is where I will leave for now. I'm going to quickly make the mechanical adjustment of adding +2 momentum. And I'm going to make a note of what we are doing. Got a journal tab, so I'm going to use that. But that was the start of Ironsworn. Mostly just world building and character gen, and then I finally rolled an actual thing, and I rolled well, so that's good. And I think tomorrow afternoon I'm going to come back to this and play some more, so I will post in the same places I posted when I put this up, but I'm going to be doing more of it, because this was a fun time, and I've got a character, but I'm also hungry, and I want to go eat in real life. So, thanks for watching. Anyone who's watching, this has been a good time. I experiment with streaming. See you all some other time.